And I'm just going to share the screen.
Bonjour, Cédric.
Wonderful. Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining. We're going to start right at 7 o'clock. We've got a full deck of information and a very special guest, two guests here today to talk to you about researching and communicating with employers. You are here for the Employer Insights Ask a Senior HR Leader. It is so nice to meet all of you. My name is Sisha Maharaj. I'm a senior consultant here with Devant. And also just wanted to share with you my team. You may or may not have met everyone yet. We are so thrilled to bring this event to you today. A special thanks to our sponsor, CIBC. You'll hear some more from CIBC, but they're offering to you at the end of the session. And I also want to take this moment to introduce our Devant ambassador. Bernadette, do you want to come off mic and say hello?
Hello everyone, my name is Bernadette. I am project management student at Centennial College. I had an opportunity to deepen my knowledge and skill in project management, and in addition to that, I'm proudly serve as a Devant ambassador, helping to connect and support fellow students and professionals within our community. Thank you for having me here today, and I'm excited to share my insights and learn from you all. And feel free to connect with me if you want to know more about our team, the Devant.
Thank you so much, Bernadette. It's so great to have a student voice here. We're hoping that, we can also do some intimate sessions in smaller groups, but this was such a popular event. Oh, I see lots of hearts coming here for you, Bernadette. Amazing. So before we start, I do want to acknowledge the land on which we are residing today. I'm actually residing in the region of Durham, which exists on the lands that the Mississauga, Sagig, Anishinaabe inhabited for thousands of years prior to European colonization. These lands are the traditional and territory treaties of the nations covered under the William Treaties, including the Mississauga of Scugog Island First Nation, Alderville First Nation, Hithawa First Nation, Curve Lake First Nation, and the Chippewa Nations of Georgina Island, Beausoleil, and Rama. As a newcomer, a second-generation newcomer myself, I honor, recognize, and respect Indigenous peoples as the right holders and stewards of the lands and waters on which we have the privilege to live. In our efforts towards reconciliation, we continue to build and strengthen relationships with First Nations as well as the large Métis communities and the growing Inuit communities here in Durham. I'd like to encourage you to learn about the lands which you reside in and to learn a little bit more about the truth and reconciliation here in Canada. So just some logistics to let you know, all participants are muted, so there's no need to use your video. The session is recorded and everything will be shared with registrants by email, and that's only for those who are attending. You can post questions in the Q&A. So I just want to show you, there's a Q&A button and then there's a chat button. The chat button is the chat button that you can use to introduce yourself, to show love and appreciation, or questions will be done through only the Q&A. We will review the Q&A and there will be an opportunity at the end of the session to ask your questions to Lynda and to get your questions answered. Also, just want to make sure you know to please take a look at our future events at www.devant.ca. So without further ado, for those of you who are not familiar with Devant, a little bit about Devant. We help over 55,000 international students and newcomers to get hired in Canada. We offer these free weekly actionable career sessions, industry experts at our events, and we offer the latest AI-driven tools to help you with your resume, your interview skills, and your labor market knowledge. We will also help to introduce you to employers and immigration experts to help you be successful with your academic life and your career development. For those of you who are in university or college, you will have a login in our login page where you will get free access to some of these services. You can also reach out to us for additional help and booking as well. So I am so excited to help you to understand a little bit about Lynda Keating. Lynda is our special expert. She is going to basically share with you all her expertise in her background. Just to let you know, she has worked with a number of employers and made a lasting impression that sets her apart from the competition and helps you get set apart from the competition. Lynda has held vice president roles in two of Canada's preeminent financial institutions, CIBC and Fidelity Investments, where she led multidisciplinary teams of professionals across Canada and North America. Her focus was the development and retention of key talent, working with senior leaders to translate strategy into practical and effective solutions. I'm so pleased and honored to be able to pass the floor to Lynda Keating. Fun personal fact, Lynda was really instrumental. I actually worked with Lynda at CIBC many, many years ago, and I'm just so excited that you will have an opportunity to hear and learn from Lynda today. So Lynda, the floor is yours. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Sisha. In fact, Sisha and I have known each other for many years. When I was running the cooperative education program at the Bank of Montreal, I got a phone call one day from a young woman who wanted to meet me. I said, okay, like I have half an hour on Friday. And this lovely, energetic young woman arrived at my office with a presentation on not only why should I hire her into the Bank of Montreal cooperative education program, but why I should hire her as my assistant to run the co-op program. And before she left the office, she had a job offer. And that was Sisha. So thanks, Sisha.
Oh my God, many
Okay.
years ago.
Yes,
There
yes,
is
it's
possible
still
to create your own
memorable.
job.
Still memorable. And you see, those are the kind of things that set you apart. She knew about the organization. She reached out to me. She was totally prepared. She made such an impact that I couldn't even let her leave the building before I made a job offer. So those are the kind of things that set you apart when you're looking for your job opportunities. Okay, so let's talk today about researching and communicating with employers. So if we go to our first slide. Oh, let me see. I can grab I will request the remote control here, Sisha.
Okay, there you go.
I got it. Excellent. Thank you. So our agenda today. So we're going to talk about your goal. What's the goal that brings you to this session here today? We're going to talk about the opportunities you're looking for, the role when you finally find it, the company, crafting your questions, and how to follow up effectively with the employers that you're interacting with. So your goal, overarching, as I've heard in the chat line, is to secure a job that not only utilizes your skills and your experience, but also what's important for you is that it fulfills your needs as an individual. A lot of people come into my office and say, I'm just looking for work. I'll take anything. The truth is, you might take anything, but you'll always be looking. So what you have to do is balance the fact that you're looking for a job in your area of specialty, but also look for jobs that fulfill your needs. So we're going to talk a little bit about that today. We're going to focus on the goal for the first conversation with the employer. So your initial goal in order to secure that regular full-time employment, oops, did I lose it? The presentation has disappeared. There it is. I will request remote control again. So the goal for your first interaction is to get the interview and then get invited back for a second interview. So keep your eye on the prize. Remember that every interaction you have with the employer, whether it's an interviewer, a second interview, a networking event, it's to get that first interview and get invited back for a second. Can you move it forward? It's not working for me. There it is. So the way we do this is to be focused and prepared. Let's face it, finding a job is a job itself. and we've all had to search for jobs. In my career, I have been restructured 3 different times from 3 very large organizations. So I have been in your position in the last 10 years, looking for a job because I've been restructured out of an organization. So what you want to do is be focused on what you want and what you're qualified for, and do the research and prepare effectively. Because here's the truth. If you don't do this work, someone else is. And the person who's going to get the interview and get the opportunity is the person who does the work. So moving on to the next slide. I don't know if I've got it or you have. Anyway, so quick tips just to start. Do the work. Schedule some time each day to focus on getting your next role, either researching opportunities, researching companies, researching industry. Keep a record of all of the positions you've applied to. The company, the role you applied to, when you applied to it, if and when you got a response. And also, if you had to go onto a recruitment management system like Workday and set up an account, make sure you keep track of your logins. And why this is important, because if you get a call back or an email back, you want to remember what this person, like who is this person representing? What is the job that you've applied for? And keep track of everything as you go along. Ensure all your equipment is working. Make sure that your email sounds professional, because a lot of times we get some really strange emails and you think, do I really want to hire Ducky 42? No, but I'd probably hire someone named Donald Mallard 42. So make sure your email is professional. Make sure your voicemail is working, and that your voicemail, if you have a response, make sure that too is professional. Make sure your camera's working, making sure that your microphone works. Make sure all of your equipment is ready before you go into any kind of search mode. Let's talk about looking at yourself first. So moving to the next slide.
So Lynda, you can try to have control. Let's see if it works for you.
Can I try again?
Yep.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. So first of all, identify the right opportunity. And I've got 4 different categories here. On the left-hand side, when you start your search, make sure you've taken the time to think about what are your skills? What are your experiences? What are your certifications? What languages do you speak? Which languages can you read? So what are all the different skills that would attract an employer? Also, what are you interested in learning? Where do you want to grow your experience? Where do you want to grow your knowledge, either of an industry, a job, a different functionality? Those are the things that are going to target which opportunity you focus on when you start your search. But the right-hand side is just as important, because this is about why you'll stay. So identifying the opportunity through skills, experiences, and so on. And then, what do I like doing? What do I like most about the jobs I have? What's important to me? And I think this is an important thing to have focused on before you go in. Is the location important? Is the hours of work important to me? Is the time it takes for commuting important to me? Is sort of the time zones. What's important that is going to make me happy and it's going to make me stay in the job? What kind of development opportunities are there for me? So think about what's important to me, so that when you go into the interview and later on in the interview, when they give you opportunities to ask, you can start asking all the different questions that are important to you. If you've got any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A. And I don't know why there it is. Oops. So how do you find the opportunity? Network. Sisha's invited you to network here today. Think about all the people you know. If you're looking for employment, one of the easiest ways to get an interview is to be referred. So if you have friends, family, colleagues, former colleagues who are working in different industries, working in different companies, use your network and find out, are there jobs in their organization? You can do that effectively through LinkedIn. Because if you go into LinkedIn and if you connect with your friends, your colleagues, your former workers, and you see a job that might interest you, ask them for an introduction, ask them for a referral, because referrals get sort of special treatment as we do the search, because we figure if someone who works for us now and who is a good and valued employee has taken the time to refer someone, they wouldn't refer someone who they wouldn't want to work with themselves. So they do get somewhat special treatment. So make sure that you utilize your network. Go into LinkedIn. You can search on companies, you can search on skill areas, you can search on companies, you can search on locations, you can search on all different ways, and go in and experiment. Go in and check your LinkedIn, do your searches and see what's out there. Of course, you can also look at the job sites. So the company site. So, look at the careers section of all the different people, organizations, websites. You can also check Indeed as well. Indeed's a good place. And any of the other sites. LinkedIn is probably a good place to start in order to start your search. There we are. So once you've identified an opportunity through the website, look at the job posting. So look at the job posting in the career site, look at it on, whoa, it's going crazy. I don't know where it's going. Look in Glassdoor and Indeed at the roles. So look at the different locations. What people are looking for is clearly identified in the job description. So they're looking for skills, specific skills. We call them specific job qualifiers. So what skills are they looking for? What kind of experience are they looking for? Are they looking for degrees, certifications, and so on? But most importantly, what you want to look at here is if they're mentioning the values and behaviors that drive success of the organization, which in talent acquisition, we would call it a cultural fit for the organization. Oftentimes, we'll hire for behaviors and values and teach you the skills that you require for the role. So let's look at a specific role. If I can figure out how to make this move. I don't know why it's not doing anything here today. There it is. Okay, so I went on to LinkedIn and I found a general kind of role that I thought might be of interest to this group. So it is the CIBC Client Engagement Representative. So what I've done here is I've grabbed screenshots of the job description or the job profile that's posted. And what I've done is I've highlighted things that you should be looking for in any job description. So first of all, you're a member of the personal and business banking team. When we look at CIBC, and we're going to look at CIBC as the company, you'll note that this is one of their lines of business. So that's the line of business that this role belongs to. You're going to be working as a client engagement representative, and your role will be to work in the center. You're going to be engaging with clients, conversation to understand their immediate needs and identify opportunities and use your knowledge of financial service products to help them with their banking needs and introduce them to the appropriate team member. So first of all, they're looking for customer service. They're looking for people who listen carefully, ask good questions, understand banking products, and that are also team-oriented because they're asking you to make referrals. It's also important for you to note that this is going to be a full-time on-site role. So if one of the things that's important to you is the opportunity to work remotely, this probably isn't a role that you want to apply to. So these are the kind of things that you should be looking for, because we've already started to see what kind of skills and questions you're probably going to be asked. How you'll succeed. Now, this is really important. These are the behaviors that they're looking for. You can be guaranteed that they're going to ask you questions about this. So client engagement, making every client experience meaningful. They're going to ask you questions about your past client experience, dealing with customers, dealing with difficult customers, how maybe questions around how you've enhanced customer experience. There's also says here, you're going to connect clients to the right CIBC members. So you're going to be able to recognize, make a decision, and make a referral. So decision-making is going to come into play here, right? Problem solving, listening, asking good questions, being empathetic, putting yourself in the client's shoes, acting like an owner by taking accountability. They're looking for people with initiative and people who have a very strong results orientation. Leveraging technology, becoming a technology expert, sharing your knowledge and introducing clients to mobile banking applications. If you're applying to this job, what I would highly recommend, if you don't currently use CIBC's mobile banking app, go on and at least try it. Sign up, go in and experiment. You don't have to close it, but demonstrate that you've taken the effort to go in and you can actually discuss the ease of getting into their mobile app or their ease of getting into their online and digital products. So make sure you take the time to try it. Who you are, you put clients first. Again, here it is again. Client experience, client focus, client experience. You need to be legally eligible to work at locations specified above, which happen to be Gerrard Square here. And where applicable, you have to have a valid work or study permit. So these are going to be sort of very general questions that people are going to be asking you. You may be asked to do an assessment, or a skills test. So just an upfront warning there. So we've gone through that job description, and so far, here's what I've identified. Here are the skills they're going to be looking for in your resume. So when you apply for this job, what you want to make sure is that you scan your resume and make sure that you have words that are similar to this in your resume. So it's clear that you have that experience. All of the ones that I haven't highlighted, they're going to ask experiential or situational questions. Tell me what your level is on Canadian financial products, specifically CIBC. They're always going to provide you with training, but so talk to them about how you've demonstrated skill, experience, or knowledge in those. The others are more behavioral. I can guarantee they're going to ask teamwork. They're going to ask customer service. They're going to ask something around initiative, accountability, or results orientation. If they get a chance, initiative might be one that they look for, but these are all of the different behaviors that there are possibilities that they're going to ask. But for sure, customer service, customer focus, and teamwork and accountability. So here are some sample questions that are going to come up. First of all, there's the general common kind of questions that almost everyone asks, especially in an initial interview. So tell me about yourself. When they ask you those questions, make sure you reference your skills and your experience that are relevant to the position you're interested in. What do you know about our company? We're going to look at how to research a company in a few minutes. Use your research and prepare a couple of key points that interested you about the firm. Why are you interested in this position? So reference both your match to the role as well as your interest in the organization and their values and how they're connected to the community or what they do in sort of the ESG kind of environment. Why did you leave your last position or company? Or why are you currently searching for a new position? Be factual, be honest, and be positive. So the skills questions are going to be prepared to outline your level of skill and when you have demonstrated those skills, and it could include testing. The values and behaviors, here's some, you always know that you're in a behavioral question when it starts with tell me about a time when, or give me an example of when you, whatever. So tell me about a time when you dealt with a very difficult or challenging customer or client situation. What happened and what did you do? Tell me about a time when you set a very ambitious goal for yourself. What was it and how did you achieve it? Tell me about a time when you went the extra mile to solve an issue or take advantage of an opportunity. What was the situation and what did you do? Tell me about a time when you had to work in a team to complete a project or solve an issue. What was the situation and what was your role? Tell me about a time when you had to balance several tasks or deadlines at the same time. What was the situation and what did you do about it? Tell me about a time you had to make a quick decision. What was it and how did you handle it? What do you notice about a lot of these questions? Only probably one or two of them are very specific about a work situation. So think about, yes, and they are open-ended. Thank you, Ezra. And think about the fact that I could tell you about an ambitious goal I set for myself that had nothing to do with work. I remember interviewing a young woman for a summer position many years ago. And I said, tell me about a time when you set an ambitious goal for yourself. And she said, well, when I joined the high school I went to, and I thought, oh, really? We're going to go talk about grade 9. Okay. She says, when I joined the high school, the very first day they gave out this award for community spirit and contribution. And I said to myself, I'm going to win that award when I leave. When I graduate this high school, I'm going to win that award. And then she proceeded to tell me how year by year she put together a strategy. And at the end of her high school term, she not only won the award, but with the most points that had ever been achieved at that institution. Nothing to do with work, but there was a young woman I wanted to work for me immediately because she just set a goal and then she spent 4 years working towards it. What more could you ask? Same thing with team. You could talk about things that happened at school, team projects, even, tasks or deadline. Talk about balancing things at university, having a part-time job, having to make a quick decision. Doesn't have to be in the workplace. Make sure that your best examples for these questions really demonstrate your ability to demonstrate the behavior. How did you make the decision? How were you involved? But expand your thoughts outside of just your work experience and think about school and college, university. Think about your community service. Think about sports. Think about, pulling a team together in a sports, because in the end, the behavior is the same. It doesn't matter where you apply it. And what we're looking for here is that the past is the best predictor of the future. If you've been able to demonstrate these behaviors in different situations in your past, I can guarantee that you'll be able to do them in the future. So preparing your responses. Let's get back to the old STAR response. So when you look at, I gave you a set of, possible questions. For every one of those questions, scan your resumes, think about your experiences. What was the situation? And pick the one. So what's the best customer experience situation you've been in? The one that's going to really demonstrate your behaviors. Explain what was the situation? How did you get involved? What was it you had to accomplish? So what was the task? What did you have to do? Then what actions did you take particularly that is going to describe exactly how you walked through it? What was your thought process? What were some of the decisions you made? What were some of the options you considered? And then finally, what was the result and the outcome? And why is that important? And I must have a drink of water now because I've been talking for half an hour. And I know this seems like a lot of stuff to do. Look at the job, identify the skills, identify the behaviors, think about the questions, go online. If you identify the behaviors, go online and Google behavioral questions for initiative. They'll give you a whole bunch of them, and they're all very similar. So then take the time to prepare for, I don't know, 4 or 5 of them at the minimum. If you do, customer service for this one, as I said, initiative, teamwork, and something around results orientation or accountability, you're pretty well covered. Because a lot of times what will happen is when you tell me the customer service story, you're actually answering my problem solving question at the same time. So, it's a 2 for 1, you might say. So once you've identified the job that you're applying to, so this is the role I'm going to apply for. Now I want to look at the company. How do I find information about the company? Because I will tell you at the end of my interviews, and I say, so Sisha, do you have any questions for me? And you say, no, not at this time. I think, oh, I guess she's not really that interested. But if Sisha says to me, actually, I was looking at your website, and what I really wondered was, whatever the question is, what is the culture of the organization? If your values are trust, accountability, and customer service, what's the culture like in your organization? I know she's interested in me. So again, network. If you know people who work there, ask them questions. Read LinkedIn. Look at the website for sure. Look at Indeed. That also gives you information about companies. And Glassdoor will give you some reviews by current and former employees. So that can give you a sense of how people feel. Glassdoor, especially the negative ones, you always have to take them with a bit of a grain of salt because people are unhappy. But look at the general gist of what the Glassdoor statements have to say. And that gives you some insight into that. So if you could stop sharing for the moment, Sisha. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen now. The first place I'm going to go to is LinkedIn. And let me just share my screen here. So can you see my screen? Is it all good? Excellent. So this is actually the job description or the job position that I just shared with you. So it's the client engagement rep. Here again, it's exactly what I went through. Here's about the job. And what do they tell you right in the very beginning? To learn more about CIBC, please visit CIBC.com. It's a big hint. Look us up. Tells you what we'll be doing, how you'll succeed, who you are. You put clients first, motivated by success. It also gives you some good information about what CIBC offers you and what you need to know about inclusion, legally eligible to work, and that you may have to do some attribute-based assessments. But what I'm going down is farther into the posting. Now, you'll notice I have a premium account because I was a recruiter. So of course I have a premium account. But it does tell you how many people have actually applied to that job. So far, as of yesterday, 272 people had applied for this job. 72 in the past day alone. 58%, 53% are entry-level candidates. Some are even up to the VP level, which is interesting. I wonder if they took me. I don't know, because I did go in instead of snoop around. Candidate level of the education level, 19% have bachelor degrees, 27 have MBAs, 23 have master's degrees, and 31% have degrees from other institutions. It also tells you about the company focus. Right now, they're very focused on digital transformation. So those questions about being tech savvy is going to be very important here. It also tells you about hiring and headcount. It says that the finance department, which this job falls into in personal and business banking, has increased 3% over the last year. So they're in hiring mode. Here's the latest hiring trends. In the last year, they have increased their headcount from 42,000 to 44,000. They have hired 2,000 people in the last year alone. This is a great opportunity. This is a company that is growing and is hiring quite extensively. Talks a little bit about their competitors. Important to know, especially if you aren't familiar with the Canadian banking industry. Understand what the competitive environment is. Also talks about about CIBC, 44,000 people. Their commitment to work-life balance, diversity, equity, inclusion, environmental sustainability, social impact. If you have interests in these are questions that you could ask at the end. I noticed that one of your commitment is to environment sustainability. What is your organization doing in that area? Again, you've done some research. So these are all different areas. You can also learn more about social impact, what it means. Here are some of the certifications they've made to the Bloomberg Gender Equality Index. They're one of Canada's top diversity employers. They're top employers for young people. Really important for this group that's here today, right? So look at all of those different areas. I'm going to stop sharing for a second because I'm going to go in to the CIBC site where they asked us to go, right? So look at the corporate profile. Here's your purpose. Here's information about the executive team. This is a great place to learn things. Here are quick facts. Who we are. Here's our strategy. Here's our different business units. And this is the business unit that the role that I selected is in personal and business banking. Here's their focus for 2025. They also have a commercial banking and wealth management line of business. They also have a U.S. commercial banking and wealth management. They have capital markets, who I used to work for when I was there. And here's the community. Here's information about their community impact, championing inclusive communities, supporting cancer initiatives, investing in financial education, such as they're doing by sponsoring this event today. Here's videos about community living, all of their different areas that they invest in, corporate governance, sustainability. Here's information about that. Innovation. Here's one area that I do want to take your attention to. It's the media center. Look at the new releases. This is things that have been in the news. It's really interesting to me if someone says, hey, I also noticed that, a couple of weeks ago, you won the use of AI in client experience. How did that come about? How is AI impacting banking from your perspective? some of this is, even though I've worked in finance for a long time, Sisha, you probably would read more of these than I would.
It's okay.
But the stuff about ETF and European, but they were named candidate, one of top candidates for young employers for young people. This is what I would read the article, references, and say, I was so excited to read that article because, you know, this is who I am. I am one of the young people in Canada. So, you know, go in there and read those kind of things in the media releases. The other area that you want to look at, I got to stop sharing because I can't see my site here for a second, is,
And Lynn, I just want to do a quick time check because I see lots of questions for you.
okay,
So just letting you know the questions are coming in for you.
okay. Well, you see, I just get so passionate and so excited.
I know, I know.
Well, I think you understand where I'm going with all of this.
Yes, yes, it's a really great resource, and I can definitely see the connections, and that's why I think why students and newcomers have some questions for you.
Okay,
Is that okay if we maybe go
sure.
through some of the questions?
Yeah,
Okay, I just want to make sure we don't run out of time
not a
before
problem.
we can, okay. So I'm going to ask you the first question. Thank you, Paul, for this question. What is the main reasons employers always want job applicants to go on LinkedIn?
Um, it's because we post there. It's sort of the only game in town, and it's where everyone posts jobs. It's where everyone in the company can also repost jobs. So it tends to be the first place we post. We also post it on Indeed. We also post on our own sites, but LinkedIn is where people go, and we take advantage of the traffic.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. I'm seeing a lot of personal questions here. So for these personal questions that you have, I would encourage you maybe to think about booking a one-on-one coaching appointment. I think some of these would require some more one-on-one time. But Linda, I'm seeing maybe a general question, somebody who's maybe been applying online, hundreds of jobs in an administration master's with 15 years of experience.
Mhm.
Even though they have, evaluated their degree, they're still not getting called for an interview. So I'm just wondering, you shared a little bit about networking. Do you have any thoughts there around how you can research or reach out to the employer? Because we talked a lot about researching, but how about any tips on how it's professionally acceptable to reach out to an employer or reach out to a hiring manager or a recruiter if they're not getting any responses from the online applications?
I mean, as when I was chief talent officer, lots of people sent me their resumes. Um, some of them I had to say thank you very much because there was really no match. But most of them I referred on to my head of talent acquisition, and we usually respond. Um, if you've applied to a lot of jobs and you're not getting it, like, have you had a really good look at your resume? Because a resume has to be more than just a list of accountabilities. Like, if I wanted to read a job description, I'd read one. What I want to read is what you did with that job. So if I was in that job, what I did was, I reduced the number of calls I had to refer to my boss, or I increased the number of calls I took a day, or I revamped the process and reduced the time it required. Talk about what you accomplished, because giving me a job description as a resume, I can read a job description on LinkedIn or on my own job site. Tell
Mm-hmm.
me something about you. That's
Mm-hmm.
what's really important. And that's what it is standing out. What did you do in that job? What did you accomplish? What did you learn there? How did you use it in your next job?
Mm-hmm.
And make sure your cover letter isn't just Dear Employment Manager, so that I know that this is the same one you sent to everybody else that you sent out those applications to that day. Make sure that your covering letter is referring to the job that you're applying to. It's referring to the company I work for, and it's making a point about why you should be the person who gets an interview, because we do read them all.
Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. Bernadette, do you have any follow-up questions? I mean, being a newcomer yourself, how is this resonating with you? Do you have any sort of follow-up questions on maybe how do you introduce yourself in networking, or things that you've been wondering about on how you really connect in person or follow up with employers?
Thank you for that insight, Linda. As an international student, we have often heard that the company seeks Canadian experience for us. Can volunteer work be considered as Canadian experience?
Absolutely. And secondarily, at least the firm that I most recently worked for, we did not ask for Canadian experience. We did ask for, are you legally eligible to accept work in Canada? But we looked at international experience because we recognize how important it is to give people an opportunity to work in their field and to contribute. And they have great experience, and we get fabulous candidates. So I would suggest that most companies now, especially the large financial institutions, would be open to looking like, I mean, a company like CIBC and Manulife who are sponsoring this, these are companies who are open to that. So look for companies who have hired from this organization. Research and in your at your college placement center, who's been hiring, who have they been hiring, and target those organizations as well.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question, Bernadette. Thank you, Linda. Bernadette, any other questions that you're thinking of around how to introduce yourself? I see another question here. How do you introduce yourself to a branch manager or a recruiter when you visit a branch? Like, what do you actually say to the recruiter? Bernadette, I'm just curious, like from your perspective, is this something you feel as well in terms of the need to get some assistance, or wondering how you introduce yourself to recruiters?
Yes, I wonder how do I approach them in such a way that they don't think that I'm very eager to find the job or to be the one to be selected on that job. So do you have any tips for us?
I'm going to be really honest. It's hard to reach us, especially nowadays when everything's being done online. There was a time not even that long ago where you could walk into my office, like my recruitment office, and go to the front desk and meet someone and say, hey. And we used to have people who did walk-ins, there was people. And since COVID particularly, and everything's been so removed, it's hard to find us. Go on LinkedIn, look to see who's on there. I mean, I have over 1,000, I think, connections on LinkedIn, and I have a lot of students who I met mainly at networking events through Sisha in her previous roles. Reach out to us. I mean, I would suggest that most people, especially in our area in recruiting, if you say, hey, look, I really just want 15 minutes of your time, I want to network, most of us are open to taking 15 minutes and booking a video call. Look around and reach out. I mean, as my mother would tell you, the worst thing that they can say is no, and as long as they don't throw something at you at the same time, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I know it's a little scary sometimes,
It is.
reaching out to people that you don't know. But I think what I'm hearing, Linda, is recruiters are generally open to you to reaching out to them. I see another
Mhm.
question here that I think is important, someone who wants to build their network, but they don't know how to go about it. I want to know how to seek volunteer opportunities, or are there websites where we can find networking events where we can meet individuals, hiring managers or recruiters. I'm just wondering, in your past recruiting roles, you know, as head of talent acquisition, mostly in the financial services sector, where did you post, like when you were attending events, or if there were like community events, you know, where did you post, or how can people find out some of the community events or where to meet individuals in your or past organizations?
Most of it was through colleges and universities. So we would do most of our networking there. I mean, the other thing is to go to events like CIBC's Walk for the Cure. You're going to meet a whole lot of CIBCers there. Make some connections in sort of non-recruiting kind of events. Um, those are the biggest ones that I can think of. Can you think of anything, Sisha, that you've been involved in recently?
Yes, so I think that's a really great suggestion is, you know, going onto the website, following the company. I would say follow them on LinkedIn, follow them on Instagram, make sure you set up a profile on their career website. So let's just say you've got your dream
Mm-hmm.
companies, make sure you're making sure that you're following them. So when they post events, and I'm going to talk about a few right now, but they will post it on their own websites through the schools, even through
Mm-hmm.
non-for-profits. The CIBC Run for the Cure. I still, you know, I worked at CIBC many years ago, but you know, I still participate in the Run for the
Yeah.
Cure, and keep my connections alive. Like, I mean, we've known each other for over 20 years, and here you are, you know, one of my first co-op employers, and I'm still in touch with you. So, you know, I would say you want to involve yourself in the community, and then you can also talk to others when you're meeting people for informational meetings. Ask them, where do they post events? What are some of the events that they're sponsoring? You can take a look at some of
Mm-hmm.
the events that the employers are sponsoring, to not just to volunteer, but to participate in competitions. I just went to Centennial College this week as a judge for a belonging, inclusion and belonging hackathon. So I would say, you know, you can even create opportunities, you know, in your community and reach out to the institutions to participate in some of these events. So I know we're at 7:53, but I just wanted to say, like, I know there's a lot of questions in here that are very particular about your personal sort of circumstances. So this session was really around, you know, researching companies as well as how to follow up or reach out to employers. So Lynda, I just wanted to thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us today, for being here today. I have some very other important information that I would like to share. So I'm just going to put the slides back up for a second. And wanted to let everyone know, I'm going to give you some information. The last thing I think that, you know, we talked about is how to follow up, you know, with employers. We went through some of the Q&As. I just wanted to let you know, like, congratulations for registering and attending this event. Over 100 attended this event. You are all now one step closer to meeting a recruiter and a hiring manager. So the last thing I would say is that Devant is intentionally creating opportunities for you to network for events like this. Every week we host events, but we're also offering on February the 20th, Get Hired at Home. So as a criteria to get you ready, we are asking that, you know, individuals prepare at least two out of the two events before February the 20th. These are a list of upcoming events. There were some questions around immigration. On February the 12th, we will have an immigration lawyer who is certified to answer your immigration questions, so you can understand, you know, how do you answer that question around your eligibility, because it will be a requirement for any of the employers. They are asking that you are, you know, legally entitled to work in Canada. So we'll make sure you have that information and that you can ask questions to Elizabeth on February the 12th. Then we also have on February the 19th another career coach Q&A. It will be specific tips for how to be successful for Get Hired at Home. We will have information sessions as well as speed interviews. So these are just some of the events. So we are another potential opportunity for you to connect with employers. I actually had one of our students, one of our Devant ambassadors, actually get a job following up with one of our speakers at one of our past events. So you can network virtually as well. Just to give you a little bit of a snapshot, I'd Get Hired at Home. We've had over 200 interviews completed on the platform, over 20 employers, and over 400 jobs were available for international students and newcomers in the community. I do want to say that we have really expanded our community-based connection program, and we're expanding to assist newcomers to Canada. These are just some testimonials about the Get Hired at Home. And just to help you, for sure, if you are a student from a university or college, please go to your career center first. You're paying fees, or you have it complimentary, at your university or college. We also partner with 10 and almost 11 non-for-profits right now. So we offer this support through the community as well. And then finally, if you wanted to book, a one-on-one with Lynda or any of our other coaches to complement the services you already have access through your community or through your schools, we offer those services to complement that, including resume, cover letter, coaching, and LinkedIn profile audit. So, please take the time to invest in your career development. I think when I took a look at the interview feedback from recruiters, I could see the yeses, the maybes, and the nos. And I'll just let you know, one of the reasons we're hosting this event for you today, a lot of the nos, the candidates that they were not moving forward, was lack of preparation. So it's very important, that you prepare your stories, like Lynda explained about the STAR example. We're giving you these tips right now so that you don't go into an interview on Get Hired at Home or an informational interview or an interview organized through the community or your school unprepared. You will not move forward. So we are helping you to help you get set up for success. And then I also just want to highlight and say a special thank you to CIBC. You will receive a follow-up. CIBC has generously sponsored this specific event, as well as more events to come this year. There are a number of different banking options for newcomers to Canada. There's many different ways to connect with CIBC. So you will see that on our landing page if you'd like to learn more. And I just want to say a special highlight to those of you who are in Toronto West. You have an opportunity to meet Kuljit Kambo and her team. I know that Sachin is on the call as well. Thank you so much, Sachin, for all that you do to connect newcomers. This is actually an in-person event. February the 10th to February the 13th, you'll be able to get a personalized financial health check. This is being held in one of the newest branches at CIBC in Brampton. So we're looking to see how we can also complement the virtual and helping you connect, with employers and sponsors in person. So this is another immediate opportunity for those who are in the branch network near Brampton. And I just wanted to end there to say thank you so much for attending. Before we go, I want to hear from you. Please let us know, what are your financial goals as a newcomer to Canada? Please share with us, what are some of your interests and goals. On February the 20th, CIBC will be hosting 2 specific events specifically focused on helping you succeed financially. And your feedback is really important so that we can customize the topic based on what your interests and your needs are. So we've got about 100 of you on the call right now. Love to get your feedback. It's very important to us. And as you can see, I've polled you many times in the past, and you can see that our events that we're offering through Devant are customized. So we are listening to your feedback. For Get Hired at Home, we have over 10 employers, over 200 jobs will be available. I'm hoping that we can exceed, 100 interviews on that one day. So if you have suggestions, please reach out also. You now know Bernadette from Centennial College. Again, Bernadette, I just want to say thank you so much for being a Devant ambassador. We have 40 Devant ambassadors right now. We're looking to grow the program over time to 100 Devant ambassadors. These are your peers. They are across Canada. You can go and see them at the school, see them in the community. We also have a partnership with the Sarnia-Lambton area. They will be offering subsidized coaching for newcomers in the Sarnia-Lambton area. So thank you to SLEP. So we are expanding rapidly in the community, and we want to assist newcomers to be successful here in Canada. So love to see the feedback. I'm just going to take 2 more seconds We've got 63% participation. I'm going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And I'm going to share the results so you can see. So we're looking, a lot of you, it looks like 36% are saving for future investments or big purchases. 36% are looking to manage daily living expenses. 20% are saving for tuition and educational expenses. And about 8% are looking to build your credit history in Canada. So wow, that's incredible information. Thank you so much for sharing that. Also, just want to ask you, maybe you can share your thoughts on the session today. I hope this was useful to you. Please take a moment to let us know if this was useful. Feedback will be sent as well. We're looking to see what else we can do to support you in your job search. As I mentioned, we are looking to expand the topic. So you will see some financial literacy, you will see immigration. We also have a new tool that you can check your immigration points for free. We are looking to assist you to be successful. So really take the time to share your feedback with us. You will also get a follow-up email from those of you who have given permission for CIBC to stay in contact with you. You will be getting specific perks and banking offers that are specific for newcomers and a link. So if you do not have banking services yet, or you're looking for support from that perspective, we will make sure you get that information. And again, it's all optional. It's up to you, but it's a resource locally in your community. So I'm seeing lots of stars here, Lynda, very high 4 and 5 stars. Excellent feedback, 68%. Let's show Lynda and Bernadette our appreciation, and feel free to use your emojis. Thank you guys so much. We are at 802. Looking here at very high scores, over 90% in 4 and 5 stars. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to end that poll. The last poll that I'm going to ask is, how did you hear about this event today? Please take a moment. We're always interested in how we can get the information to you. Please, if you enjoyed this event, let your friends know. We offer these events every Wednesday from 7 to 8 Eastern Standard Time. I hope to see you all. I will stay on for a few minutes after. I'm just going to end the recording right now. Again, Lynda, thank you so much. On behalf of the community of newcomers and international students, we really appreciate your time and expertise. And for me, this is a personal note. Thank you so much for being such an inspiration and a mentor to so many of us, you know, in the professional area of human resources and human capital. You really have, you know, been always somebody that has looked for the potential and open doors for youth and students. And you saw the potential and open doors for many of us. So again, we're here over 25 years later, and so happy, you know, that I've had this opportunity to spend this hour with you. And Bernadette, again, thank you so much for volunteering. As you can see, you know, you've got so much to offer, and just put yourself out there. And today I know you did. So thank you so much for co-hosting with me today, Bernadette.
Thank you, Linda, and thank you, Sicha, for having me here.
Thank you both, and thank you to Devant for setting up these kind of opportunities, and good luck to everybody.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Bye. Have a good evening.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.